Hi, and welcome back to the Reality Roundup. I'm Mariama. That's Maddie. This is your home for all things reality television. Today, we're going to be talking about the 14th episode of the challenge season 40. As always, please check out the rest of our coverage on the challenge so far this season. The playlist will be linked in the description. And please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you. Maddie, how are you?
Yes. I'm doing just fine, friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. What are your thoughts on the episode today?
I liked this episode. I finally feel like I'm like hip to the storytelling portion of it. Because as soon as we started focusing on Josh, I was like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah, there were
Yeah.
two big things. The Hunter flashback at the beginning.
Oh, interesting.
For me, I was like, oh, Corey's probably going down. 'Cause um, and then yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, any other thoughts on the episode to start?
No general thoughts. Getting into the nitty-gritty of it, though, I do have thoughts.
Okay. What do you want to start with?
I was wondering, did we know, because I only watched each episode once, did we know that Josh had had that conversation with Michelle about volunteering?
No, that wasn't shown to us. It
Okay.
was used as a like a plot device today.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was like, oh, because I was kind of like confused. I think I said last episode that I was a little bit confused about Josh's like strategy here. But to me, that like cleared things up, but it also did make me think, oh, Josh is probably
Well,
going home.
I think he was like trying to. I think for the most one, there's no shot that Michelle like wasn't gonna choose him. We didn't need to have him like telling her it's okay. She'd already kind of told us she was angry at him and she was gonna throw him in. We'd already
Yeah.
learned that at the club. It seemed like Josh feeling like their relationship was on the outs was just like, I guess you're gonna throw me in. I'm not gonna hold it against you, or it is what it is. But I don't, you know.
Side note, do they always go to the club this much?
Yeah, they do.
Because I was like, damn, we're at the club again. Like,
Uh, Sometimes it's like a private club. It's a storytelling device of the show of the production team. Like
absolutely.
they're forced to like go there and like do that.
You could tell
Um,
because Jenny never gets dressed for it. Jenny's always wearing some shorts and a big
I
t-shirt.
mean, if they didn't, we would literally just watch 60 minutes of them. Like, no, yeah, we would watch because now we're doing an hour and a half episodes, right?
Mhm.
So we would watch 30 minutes of a challenge and we'd watch, 45 minutes of them traipsing around the same scenery of the house. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I was like, yo, we're at the club again? Like, oh my gosh.
uh,
Don't we have anything else to do?
no, they don't. They're in a foreign country. They don't know anybody. They're not allowed to like leave.
That's actually kind of funny.
Any other thoughts? I mean, before we got into the challenge, we saw Corey. Who was Corey talking to? Tori or
I,
Kara? Corey was talking to Kara because they're now each other's number ones kind of by process of elimination because
but
they don't neither of them have anybody else. And
I was
then
like,
we
there's not
got
any choice.
Tori and Rachel running down their alliances
Hmm.
as two people kind of were like that want to align but kind of forced to be on the opposite of each other because their most key relationships are at odds.
Hmm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I was just kind of like, oh, okay. Like there's not that many people left total, right? And so any sort of alliance talk at this point in time, at least to me, is like kind of just like squabbling for scraps or like kind of like temporary things because we got the Johnny's Angels contingent. We got well, now I guess what remains of the Vacation Alliance. Obviously, Tori and Jordan are going to be completely locked in, no question, or at least to the best of our knowledge, no question. So there's not really a lot of wiggle room left for literally anybody, truly.
All right, well then, yeah, I agree with that. Then let's get into the challenge. Today's
I love
challenge,
this.
Did you really?
Oh my God, it was everything I wanted it to be in the previews. I was actually really excited.
Today's challenge was called Another Trucker.
Hmm.
And in the
Which is funny.
challenge, two men or two women at a time would go. They were harnessed on top of the cab of a semi truck, and the truck is driving down the road, and they must swing back and forth and hit targets that are corresponded to a color or
Yeah.
whatever. There are 12 targets, two on the or six on the inside and six on the outside for each
Hmm.
person. And the man and woman each to get the most out of their group would win the day. What did you think
Hmm.
here of the challenge?
Oh my gosh, this was exactly what I wanted this to be. I was so excited by it. It seemed like it would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I was kind of like wrestling with myself in my head. I was like, is 55 miles an hour really that fast? And then I
Yeah.
was like thinking, yeah, and then I was thinking about like maybe like not in the car, like it doesn't feel like that, but just hanging and having to throw your body off of a moving semi, like that's fast.
Yeah,
It
and
was so cool. It was so cool.
timing the impact on like something that you have to catch. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Um,
so cool.
what would be your strategy if you were doing this challenge?
Competitively or just for fun?
Why would whichever?
I mean, I feel like I would be too scared to do this competitively, but just for fun, I don't know. I feel like I would just swing as far out as possible before because I feel like I would try to catch it on the way back. Does that make sense? Like on the
Mm-hmm.
pendulum swing back. Because I think I would be scared, but I feel like I would definitely miss the first target because I feel like I would just be too scared to do it. And it would take, at least to me, it would take at least one swing to figure out like how much of your like how much force you really have to get put behind it to know how far you would go out. So I feel like I would there's no way I would hit like the first like three targets, but I feel like it would eventually I would get it.
So, do we want to talk key performances? Um,
Sure, yes.
we had Cara and Tori, who, not for nothing, didn't do very well. I think Tori ended up with three, I believe, and Cara five. And well, the really kind of key moment of the day was Corey and Bananas, where Corey had a one target penalty because he came in
Mm.
last place on the Women's Week last week.
Hmm.
I don't remember exactly what he did, but once he missed two targets, it was over for him.
Yeah,
Bananas Bananas went 9 for 12, I believe, or 10 for 12.
yeah. I thought, and I was wondering what your opinion was on this. I feel like going first in this situation was really quite a disadvantage.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Always in every challenge, going first is always a big disadvantage.
Yeah, but I feel like it really
Um,
stuck out here because like you get to, well, first of all, obviously your number is set, duh. But like other people literally get to watch how much force you put behind your body and like learn from you and then
yeah,
adjust.
I don't know. They don't show this anymore, but historically, like what we would do, part of the advantage that you gain from winning the previous week is that you got to set the order. Because in most of these games, going first is a huge disadvantage. So people would strategically disadvantage the folks that they were targeting or just the folks that they weren't working with by setting
Oh,
them earlier in the order and selling and setting their allies
like you
and
have to go
themselves,
first.
yeah, and themselves
Okay.
later on. I think
Interesting.
we just, I don't know if I haven't been paying attention, but I think we just like draw for order now, or if we don't, then it's randomized like in some way, or if they are setting the order, we're not shown that. But who won last week?
Ooh.
Jordan was one of the winners, and Cara was. Yeah, why would Cara put herself first? So yeah, she did
Yeah.
not
Oh, I
set
see
this
what you mean.
order.
No.
Yeah, so Jordan and Cara won last week. I don't believe that they would have.
I think there's only been like one time this season where we've seen them set the order.
Yeah. So that was fairly common practice through most of the challenge history is
Mhm.
that whichever person or team or group won the prior daily challenge would get to create the order of competition for the next daily challenge, or if it wasn't something like order, they would get to set like the places. So if like everybody was like on platforms like
Yeah.
competing in something, they would set the like where everybody stood or sat.
Interesting. Okay. I loved
Um,
this. I love this so much. Um, I did say to myself, Josh, you're big as hell. You better do well here. But apparently that did,
not
and
coordinated enough.
no,
They don't call him
no.
the goof for nothing.
Oh, well, that's, a reminder of
Um,
me.
the other key thing, well, yeah, Josh and Jordan won. Jordan was perfect. Josh was not. And then
Yeah.
Derek went with who?
Ooh,
Here, I think I can figure this out. I have it down here somewhere.
I don't remember any of the men all of a
Oh,
sudden.
Kylan. I forget about
Oh my
Kylan because he
gosh.
wasn't in the last few episodes a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
Derek went along with Kylan, and Derek was also perfect. And I
Yeah.
was like thinking here, I was like, dang, I wonder what they're gonna do for a tiebreaker. But we learned shortly. When TJ announces the winner, he announces that Rachel won for the women
Hmm.
with 9 targets. She really did crush. I don't think like anyone did like really, really bad except for like Aviv and Tori. I mean, Michelle performed how I expected her to perform.
Valid. Did Aviv hit any?
Aviv got two.
Two.
One or
Okay.
two. Yeah, Aviv
Yeah.
got two, and Tori had three. Tori and Michelle had three. So Aviv just needed four to not be going in.
Is Do you interpret Aviv having a height disadvantage in this situation? Because like
Yeah,
Aviv is the smallest, but Josh is the biggest, and they both did very bad.
yeah.
So I'm kind of like, did she like is because I feel like with the
Well,
rope and the pulley system, like she had farther to go.
Aviv was certainly disadvantaged, and this is what I wanted to say. Especially if I was Aviv, it's I thought she got some pretty crucial information after the first like two or three targets. I would have just went for the ones on inside, especially because your goal isn't to win.
Mm,
Like once you miss like 3 targets, forget about it. Like your goal now is to just survive the round without getting a penalty. Like you're probably still going to get targeted because you have the
yeah,
least amount of relationships in the house anyway, regardless of which man comes out of the elimination round. My goal would just be to not be a target with a penalty. So if I was
yeah,
her, I would have just went for it. I have 6 opportunities to give 4 targets on the inside. I'm just staying here and I'm just trying to time that perfectly.
the
And maybe
inside.
if I see an opening, I'll go for one on the outside or whatever. But I remember when thinking like when I was watching this that like a V1 is like she's off on the rhythm, but also the outside targets just seem to be further. And I think someone even mentioned it in the episode, like
Yes,
further out
absolutely. They did.
than the other ones. And I think she was able to get one of those. So like you take that, you get one of those, and then you go 3 for 6 on the inside. You're safe. I mean, not safe, but like
You're in a
you
better
don't
place.
have you don't have a penalty going into the next week. And I honestly think like of the Bananas Angels so far this season,
Mm,
she probably needs the most, like as much as she can get. She hasn't
yeah.
really been performing well. I do think she has like, she has some like really like huge strengths in like endurance. Um, and I think she'll do well in like a finals setting, but in these like little daily challenges, these little things, they're not all like really geared. They're not like really geared for somebody like her of her skill set.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes complete sense. Because I was like, this seems like a real disadvantage for Aviv, at least I think you're right, on the outside targets in particular, because I don't remember who mentions it, but it's also kind of just visually clear that the outside targets are a little bit further away than the
Well,
inside
I mean,
ones.
part of it, like if Aviv was a stronger woman, like it wouldn't be as much. Like if she could swing herself out further, it wouldn't be as
Yeah,
much of a disadvantage. Like
yeah,
it's not necessarily about your reach as much as it's about how much momentum can you create. I also noticed this with a lot of the women as well too. They were like they would swing to like hit a target and then they would stop themselves on the truck and then try to like reset. Like just keep that thing moving. Like get the rhythm. But like
yeah.
the stop in on top of the truck, just make it as like you don't want to like completely stop your momentum. If you have to slow yourself down just so you don't miss time the target, fine. But like slow yourself down and keep
Hmm.
like taking like paces like
I
on
would have
top of the
loved
truck.
Aviv to just like ball herself up like a little wrecking ball. and
Yeah.
just like truly like have actual like pendulum momentum by like making your body small and concentrated and just like hit them with your whole body. Like if you need to, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't think that would have worked.
I think it would have been fun. I feel like that's what I
I
would do as a
I
tiny
think she'd be
person.
in the same position. But the key thing here is that Jordan and Derek tied at 12
Hmm.
apiece. So we go to a sudden death tiebreaker round. What were your thoughts here?
I was so excited. Well, blah, blah, blah. I did not think about the fact that like it was possible to tie, which I guess is technically true on like most things on the challenge. But so I was like, oh, when TJ said that there was a tie, I was like completely surprised because you and I've talked about this before. We don't really get like a good like finishing Chiron where it like stacks people or anything like that. And so I was like, was there a tie? That literally did not even occur to me.
Yeah.
Um, it I think the truck went faster and the
Mhm.
targets were maybe displayed a little bit differently, like in terms of um setup. I don't know. That part wasn't clear to me.
No,
But
the
it
the smoke was different in that like in the previous round when you hit the blue target, blue smoke popped out. In this round, when you hit the blue target, red smoke popped out.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't know why that was. But I was excited that it was or well, I'm not surprised that it was Jordan, but I was really excited that it was Derek, like getting to really
Derek
show.
really surprised me with how well he did on
Yeah,
this particular challenge.
yeah, he did so well. I was so excited.
Yeah, so after that,
And he wins. He wins the sudden death.
Jordan misses one and Derek wins. So we have our winners coming out of this as Derek and Rachel. I think Derek really exceeded expectations, which you can tell from the way the show even represented it. Like when Jordan went in his first round, it was
Yeah.
like rock and roll, like hell yeah, brother type of music. And when Derek like went, there's
Mhm.
like all this confessional of people just like Derek is a dark horse. You got to watch out for Derek. Derek is coming for these boys. And then this like triumphant like cinema music played in the background when he won, and they slowed it down and everything. I was
That
like,
was so dramatic.
wow.
Yes, yes.
Shout out to Derek. Yeah, shout out to Derek. He did that. You ready to move on?
Yes, yes.
Let's,
Post challenge.
yeah.
Josh really do be crying. And I originally was like,
Oh,
oh, but he cries, he does,
what was
he,
he
he
crying
does.
about here? Was this about how
I
proud
don't
he
even
wanted to, what he wanted
I
to do for his parents?
I think
Every
so.
time Josh does this on this show, I'm just like, the only thing I'm ever thinking is like, Josh, you won Big Brother. Like, you didn't take care of your mom and dad when you won Big Brother. You won $500,000 on Big Brother. Like, he's like, I really just got to do it for my parents. They gave up everything for me. I'm like, yeah, like you didn't pay them back already, or like at least start the process. Like, you need a challenge win to begin taking care of
See,
your.
that did not even occur to me. I was just kind of like, oh, like I don't think their hopes on their financial future should be contingent upon you winning the
No,
challenge.
seriously.
I don't think that that's a safe financial bet.
No, sir.
Maybe if you were Bananas or Jordan, but like this is not the space for you here, babes.
If your dad is waiting on you to win the challenge for him to retire, he's gonna be working for a while. He's gonna be working until he's 90. Like,
Exactly, especially with the way they set up the beginning of this episode. I was like, God damn it, Josh is going home. I was
um,
like, this is foul.
no, yeah, and I've really, really liked Josh this season, but this was one of those things because this is like
Yeah,
classic Josh. Like,
yeah.
I was just like, I just kept thinking, like, bro, you already won Big Brother. Like, you won Big Brother and you've played like 8 challenges. Like, you have to have, secured like a significant bag. Like, you get paid for appearances on this show. Like, what are you
I
doing
don't
with all
know.
that money, Joshua?
I don't be apparently Vacation Alliance
Yeah,
stuff.
he's probably on his way to Turkey.
Oh. And that the emphasis on Josh's hairline in this episode was kind of rude.
Yeah. Oh, the thing that was like really key to me was
Mm.
seeing Tori braiding Josh's hair. I was like, that's why those plats be looking like that. Bro, I don't know. The way Tori was starting those braids was really
It
upsetting me.
it was really upsetting to me. It
She
genuinely
was holding
was.
them like mid shaft, like kind of braiding this like underhead. I was like, sister, like, what are we doing here?
And I was like, oh my goodness. Like every single part of that, I was like, oh no, what are
He
we
stood up
doing?
and they were uneven, and I was like, all the black women went home. Like, that's why Corey's hair hasn't been braided. Corey came in with braids. Anissa,
Oh
Naya,
my God, all the black women did go home.
all the all the black women went home. Corey stopped getting braids. Corey's been rocking the curls ever since.
And what a damn shame. What a damn shame. You're telling me that these people with kids, Rachel, Aviv, you can't get no type of braid happening here?
Mm.
Not even the people with kids? Damn. That was funny as hell. That was funny as hell.
What else do you have from here? We do see Corey and Josh talk. I don't remember the
Uh,
nature of their
oh, when they're at the
conversation
club?
before they go to the. Yes, they were at the club.
If they're at the club, then they kind of like sort of kind of squashed the beef a little bit
Mm.
where
Corey
Josh was
looked
talking
good as
about
hell
like
in
you're
that scene with the black shirt.
we have to move on. Um
Respectfully, Taylor.
respectfully, Queen.
Quite respectfully.
Um it it was Josh said something about like, you'll always be family to me, whatever, whatever. And Corey was like, well, you better start treating me like family. And then
Oh
that was pretty much
yeah,
it.
that was a good
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
No, Bananas and Rachel did talk, and they, very weird scene, but very
Yeah.
funny. Only in that he mentioned that they played on the island together, and I was like, yep, that was your worst season, wasn't it? Like it was a horrid season.
I thought Rachel going to confession and basically saying, like, I just parent Bananas. Anytime he does something, she basically said, anytime he does something pro-social, I reward him. Anytime he does something antisocial, I ignore it.
Yeah.
I was like, that's like truly parenting 101. I mean, he's a grown-ass man, but yeah,
And then next we get a conversation between Derek and Rachel. I was hyped during this scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
the queer people conversation.
Yeah, not for the
Yeah.
conversation, for the nostalgia of the replay of all those seasons.
Oh, yes, that would be what
And
got you.
like
Yes.
that was like incredible. And with the music, what did you think here actually?
I thought it was a really interesting conversation to have. Now, we kind of talked about this a little bit with Love is Blind and like the uptick in political conversations over the seasons, but I don't know if this is challenge normal or not for them, but I thought it was really interesting to see the flashback of, oh, hold on. I don't know if this is like challenge norm or not, but I liked the flashback of Rachel wearing her lesbian shirt, and talking about how like she would be more afraid now to wear that shirt than less afraid. I thought that was interesting.
I don't.
Um,
Oh, okay. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
oh no, it's fine. And then I was just gonna say that I thought it was an interesting conversation to have. I just didn't know if it was like really important because it was like the first time we were having that type of conversation on the challenge, or if it was just like we got two
I
queer people here and they're
I didn't
yapping.
I didn't read it as that. Like I didn't read it as like more in like particularly intentional. I didn't read her commentary as or her conversation with Derek as particularly political or intentionally so.
Oh.
All I really just like what I really would all I really just like, this is like a very 40-year-old Rachel thing to just be like, think about the representation. Like
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
that's what I thought mostly. And for me, like watching the show for a long time, and I'm probably for like a lot of fans too. I think it was just a really cool like nod to the fandom with like the trailer. So like I didn't think like Rachel was saying anything beyond like I don't think Rachel would be scared to wear a shirt that said lesbian on it. She literally mentions that she's gay every confessional she has. Like
I But she
and
does literally say that she would be more afraid to wear that shirt now than she was
I
before.
think she's like hamming it up for the cameras. I think she's like, oh, I have an opportunity to say something, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna say something. But like
yeah,
Rachel would not be scared for one. There's not a single thought in my mind that Rachel would be afraid to wear a shirt that said lesbian on it. She literally every time she comes on one of these shows, she takes like 5 minutes in her introduction to talk about how gay and happy she is. and her wife, and then they flash photos of her wife and her
Yeah.
children, like, and
Yeah.
then she talks about like what was that thing that they had? It was the I don't know, the challenge, like they had like what do you say? Like this like special or whatever that they ran. It was like an 8 episode. Oh, the Untold History or whatever, and
Oh.
they talk about like key moments in like the challenge and challenge history and like highlight key challengers. They like
Hmm.
highlight Rachel and Veronica, and Rachel's on there talking about how gay and closeted her and Veronica used to be back in the day. And oh my God, imagine. No, I don't think, like, I didn't read it at that as that, because I don't
Yeah.
think that like that particular comment meant anything other than like the performance of like a reality star, like elevating the moment
Yeah.
to be more widespread. What I really thought was like really cool on the show's part is that like I don't think it's something that like the show necessarily like always intentionally talks about, nor
Hmm.
that like I would say fans recognize all the time, but the show has done a really good job at like LGBT and queer representation over
Mm-hmm.
the years, and in such a way that like you don't really like, I didn't really think about it when she was saying it and she was like, oh, like da 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 da, and like we're so well represented. I rolled my eyes until the replay started and I was like, oh my God. And they left people out. Like there was no Caitlyn,
Wow.
who was like our first trans competitor. There was no Ammo. There was no like there were tons of people that were missing like out of the show, like even going back and seeing people like Sam and Frank on Battle of the Seasons and like all these other people. I was like, wow, like these people are like very very present in the show and like highlighted, their stories are highlighted, and it's,
Mm-hmm.
and like yeah, like they're like super gay all the time and like that's a part of their story too.
Yeah.
But like you don't come away from the show being like, oh, I've just gotten a lot of like queer representation. Like I don't even think they showed Anissa, and Anissa's a little a little bisexual Jewish girl.
Oh, I was gonna be like, where are you ending that sentence? I but see, my agreement in furthering of your argument is that like that's the best type of representation
Yeah,
where
no,
it's
that's what I'm
just
saying. That's why
yeah.
it was so impactful for me, because like she said that and she was like, when whatever comment she made, and
Mm,
the first clip they showed were Nani and Casey, I was rolling my eyes. I was like, Nani and Casey, be for real. And then like immediately after that, I think the next clip was Sam, who was struggling in that particular final. Sam and
mm,
Frank, as like they won that season, like, you know,
mm,
and like I mean Sam struggled all the way to the end and Frank was dominant on that season. But like that was two queer people like hoisting, like, because I think on that challenge they had to like hoist up a flag or something at the end.
mm.
Like they literally show, I don't, you didn't realize it, but they
I did
literally
not.
show Frank like as he like they show Sam climbing up the like final sand dune
Hmm.
to get herself up, but like, and then Frank racing to the flag to like hoist it up triumphantly, which is like symbolic. I thought that
Yeah.
was really really cool.
I loved it.
um
I did love, even though I don't have the full context like
and
you
of
do, I
course my
really
queen
did.
Evelyn, the best to ever do it, so she was
Okay.
on there too.
I don't know who that is, but I loved that little like flashback, and it made me a little bit emotional. I won't lie. I was like, oh my God, look at all these queer people doing queer things.
Yeah, this is really cool. I like, it was a really really cool moment. Like I really like this episode, this challenge season, because of like how rich the challenge history is. Like I mean it's just a reality television show. It's not even like a particularly popular one at that. It's like it's such a niche
It is.
interest.
Yeah.
But like the storytelling, like the history, like all of these people and all of their lives and stories just like interwoven together. It's so rich, and like this was just like a gift to
Yeah.
me personally. I received it as a gift from the challenge
And I
producers.
think that part, and you and I have talked about this on the pod before, that I think part of the magic of that is that it is not a full reset every single season in terms of
Yeah.
it always being a whole new group of people. And I know that there are other shows that do that, like recycle people, but I think it creates like that rich like history and tapestry and a lot of kind of like inside baseball moments because like people go and come back and like it can be like the same people over and over again. And in this particular season, it literally is no new people, right? It is only people that we know before, that you all know before. And so I think that's fun. I think that's kind of what makes it cool and very different than a lot of other reality competition, very broad category shows.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I call it America's fifth major sport. But like, I also want to, before we move on to talk about Chambers, here I do want to talk about Nelson, who you don't know,
Oh
um,
yes, Nelson. Yeah.
Scuba Nelly T. Um,
I was
no,
like,
Nelson,
what?
yeah, that's Nelson,
Yeah.
aka Nelly T, aka Scuba Nelly T.
Well, Nelson
Um,
is post Chambers.
yes, it is. I just want to talk about it here because
Okay,
it's about the nostalgia of it all.
yeah. Okay.
That moment as well was also like very impactful for me because I mean Nelson is he's he's quickly made himself. I don't know. I think Nelson's maybe done like less than 10 challenges. Not quite sure, but he's definitely like a staple on the show in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
I remember hearing like the news of him in his car accident, and then I remember seeing him like dealing with recovering for his leg,
Hmm.
and then like literally I popped in one time accidentally on a TikTok live of him, and he didn't have a leg, and like I didn't know what happened to it. Um, yeah, but I just loved the replay of him.
I love this moment. And I love this moment for Corey too. And especially because I don't remember him talking about his daughter's health concerns
Mhm.
before. And so I thought this was a very, for lack of a better word, like humanizing moment for Corey.
Yeah,
And I like seeing people get to call out and talk to their friends and family, which we don't see much of this season. I can't remember the last time we saw
it's
it. I
for
think
the
it might have,
best. It's for the
yeah.
best. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
We don't need it. It's happening all the time. They're all talking to family like pretty much daily,
Yeah,
but it's best that we're not seeing all of those
I
calls.
liked it. Are they allowed to talk to people who've left?
They do sometimes.
Like, could Michelle call Devin?
Yeah. She probably has, but like
Okay.
I don't want to see that either.
I know you don't want to see it, but she's always like, I miss Devin.
I also particularly wouldn't care if she hadn't. Like as I think you may be like, oh, like I hope she can get. I wouldn't care if she hadn't.
I know you wouldn't. I know who you
Um,
are.
Chambers.
Yes. Is that all you want to say about Nelson?
Um, I was gonna say more, but yeah, that's enough. Shout out
Okay,
to
that's fine.
Nelson.
Shout out to Nelson. And
Always
then we
great.
do
Always has a great
see,
attitude. Incredibly joyous man.
I don't have anything for Chambers because it was basically already decided, except for Josh crying again.
Yeah, Josh was like, I'm gonna step up. I'm like, boy, you're going in. Like you should have stepped up when CT was on the block. Like that would have been
Ooh!
your triumph at like not running away from smoke. Like you've been
Yeah.
running your whole challenge career. Like keep it cute. Like
Yeah, he was crying. And we didn't, I mean, it was what Corey and who? Wait, who?
bananas.
Josh definitely going in. Oh, it's Corey and Bananas.
Mm-hmm.
And Rachel was in charge, or Rachel had the final say. So there wasn't really any, it, it was very well, it wasn't anticlimactic. There was no
Yeah,
climacticness to happen
yeah.
because it was,
There was no obscuring. Like we weren't going to be shocked by Rachel's choice.
like,
There was
yeah,
no obscuring
exactly.
the pick. So let's get into the challenge, and unless you have anything else.
No time for elimination. Um, oh, wait, no. What the original song? Oh no, I thought I had something for post chambers. Coming into elimination, this time it was called Coming from Behind, which I immediately started giggling, and then everyone started giggling too, and I was like, thank you. And then TJ was like with one eyebrow raised, and I was like, no, because this is actually really funny. Um, we Josh obviously was going down in the sand because he lost. We knew that it was going to be against Corey because it wasn't going to be bananas. Rachel gave like a long speech as to why it wasn't going to be bananas, and I was like, I don't know why we need this information. And then coming from behind itself, we had a wall, we had two lanes, and somebody was playing offense, somebody was playing defense. The
Mm-hmm.
person on offense needed to ring the bell, and then four rings would win the whole thing. It did not go very well for Josh for obvious reasons.
Well, I expected Corey to win this easily. I did not expect it to. Corey to win this as convincingly as he did. I didn't expect
Aw,
Josh to score on offense. Like I was just like, no, there's no way. Corey is fast and faster than
yeah,
Josh, and he's starting with a head start, like that little hay bell jump over thing, please. Corey's
no,
starting with a head start. I expected him to be in the like circle where the bell is before Josh
yeah,
every time, and essentially and I think Corey's stronger than Josh too. Just overpower him. Like they are evenly matched like, as far as like body type, but I
yeah.
think Corey's much more athletic, much stronger. Well,
I
not
think Josh
maybe not
says
much
Corey used to play
stronger.
football, right?
Corey did play collegiate football. I believe he played at Michigan too. Ooh, Muck Fishigan.
Yeah,
Um, but
especially November.
yeah, for real. But I didn't expect Josh to get any offensive points. I expected Josh to at least be able to get Corey out of that circle one time, especially because he had
And
a
that's
head
what I
start.
thought too. And it was very fast. I mean, obviously editing too, but it was, at least to me, it was a very
No, I
fast.
I don't feel like they did much editing. Like those rounds went quick. Like the first one, like Josh turns the corner into Corey's shoulder and he's just flown out of the circle. Like it was I feel like after I saw that first point on from Corey, where he was on defense, I was kind
Yeah.
of like, oh yeah, this is a win for Corey for sure. And then I feel like the rest of the I actually felt like the rest of the elimination was long because they kept doing like stills and slow mo and cutting to commercial break, like
Yeah.
as if Josh had a chance. And I was just like, please, like
It was
run me
so,
the full 3 minutes of this game so that Corey.
3 minutes is so foul.
Y'all know y'all
It
didn't even need to edit.
it literally was so fast. And I think the first time Josh goes over the hay bales, it not good. And the second time
He
Josh goes
goofed.
over the
Yeah,
yeah. And the second time Josh goes over the hay bales, still not great. And Corey
slightly
was
better.
like, oh, slightly better, yeah. But Corey just sailed over it, hit that bell.
I'm I'm like really curious. I just think I feel like Josh just didn't play sports growing up because like when I've seen Josh
Hmm.
in like physical competitions, it just doesn't seem like he has like an idea, like a game plan that, I
Okay.
think anybody who had played like sports, like even like just through middle school and high school, would be
Yeah.
able to kind of know, okay, if I'm going to make physical contact with somebody, I'm gonna like lower my center of mass. I'm gonna try to like
Hmm.
be like he hits that corner standing straight up and he gets hit and he's like, whoa, like what was that? Um
Yeah.
and like Bananas is like, yo, like Josh, like lean into him, like he's coming from the left, like drop your left
Drop your
shoulder and
shoulder.
like be
Yeah.
prepared to initiate
Do
contact.
literally anything else.
Yeah, good for
Yeah.
Josh though. It was a good run. I was rooting for you this season, Josh. I wasn't hating. I know he
Yeah.
made mention to the internet trolls. I was not trolling this season, so we're friends
W-
now.
We've actually done a pretty good job of not trolling Josh. Mine's the hairline comments. Josh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. He know what's up because he cut it off. Now he looks like Vegeta.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it for wait, no targets.
Yeah. Yes, Corey wins convincingly, and he throws targets onto Jenny, Michelle, and Aviv. Pretty clear.
Hmm.
Yeah, Car is
Yeah.
off limits. Um, he's
Can't do
still
Rachel.
he's still trying to slide in there with Tori a little bit, so doesn't want to take a shot and can't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So that was it. And then next week will be women's elimination.
Yeah, I let me
Yeah.
double check the head count because we have to be revving up for a little finals very soon.
I think so. It feels like there's not that many people,
Um,
but I've been saying that for weeks now. I still think about Laurel just being like, I'm going home.
I
That
think
was so
I
funny.
I really think we have one more. Well, let me see. Let me double check the head count. So for the men, we have uh Bananas,
Mhm.
Derek, Corey, Jordan, and Kylan. So we're down to 5 men,
See?
and then Jenny, Michelle, Aviv, Rachel, Tori, and Kara, 6 women. So I think ideally we get rid of one woman. We're probably gonna purge again at 10, where it's a double elimination. So
Hmm.
we're probably, I think we might, I'm guessing, but
Hmm.
educated guess. Maybe a double elimination at 10 and we go to a final at 4 and somebody gets eliminated halfway during the final and the last 3 men and 3 women race it out.
Oh, I feel like that makes sense, right? Because there's like a first, second, third place kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
we've loved recently sending more people to the finals than can actually win. Because typically we would go down, we would purge somewhere at 10 or 8, and
Hmm.
get down to the three. And then the three people that would be competing, the only people who went to the finals were the people who were going to be competing for money,
Okay.
usually. But then, like, somewhere around the mid 20s, we love sending 4 people and then cutting someone in the finals.
How
Um,
do you think the karma points are going to play out
I
in
I
finals?
don't even I can't even begin to think. Last year or on All Stars 4, what we saw is that people were competing for stars, and when you
Hmm.
got eliminated in the final, you could give your star or stars to people that were still in the
Okay.
finals, and it would essentially buy them an advantage in the games. So, like, for example, I feel like the advantage was way too large. They ran a circuit in that final on All Stars
Hmm.
4 where they had like 5 stations, I believe, and you
Hmm.
could put down 1 star to skip a station. So there were
Oh,
there were 4 or 5 stations. You had to do 3 rounds of it, and so Laurel ended up having the most stars going into that final, and she basically just skipped a task on every round except for her final round. And she was
did she
able to,
win?
yeah, she was able to win quite convincingly, because
Wow.
I think that's way too big of an advantage. What I'm thinking the karma points might do, it might be sort of like a karma bank account, karma point bank
Hmm.
account, and maybe if you would buy yourself increasingly more expensive but like better advantages. So like maybe like if you're
Okay.
solving like a puzzle or whatever, like you start off with two pieces already in there or whatever, and you solve
Ah,
the rest.
okay.
Like,
Okay.
I think like something like that I would not hate, but I would not want to see a karma point system, karma vote system ever again on a challenge. Like it's already here, we've already filmed, I get it. But like
Yeah.
I do not like competitors who are out of the game influencing um
What's going on in the game?
yes,
Mm,
influencing what's happening in the game and people's performances in the game by
yeah.
either disadvantaging or advantaging competitors. I would just like to see everybody who gets to a final
Do you think they
competing.
still don't know?
Of course, they don't know.
That's very interesting to me because I feel like, well, no, I guess you would get in trouble for yapping. But like if you can talk to somebody who's left, would that be
Oh, that's
cheating?
yeah, that's interesting. No, I don't think they know. Also, those conversations are monitored. Like it's not a
Oh,
private
true.
conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so if there is like a penalty or a risk or whatever for that,
Hmm.
maybe they might not be able to talk to each other. Because I do remember when the whole Jenna, Zach, and Amanda thing broke out. It was like Amanda was like talking about it at a hotel after filming or whatever.
Hmm.
Or I don't know. There was like a redemption house situation. But I have seen people leave though, like way back in the day. I've seen people leave and then like call like people that were still in the competition, like,
Yeah.
and like, you know, just to like talk their shit or just be like, I love you too, back. Like
I feel like well, at least the way that the edit is framing it, especially with Olivia when Theo
oh, you're
left.
right. Maybe they won't talk to each other until
Yeah, because
after
it
the
seems
show.
very much like my husband has gone off to war and I haven't seen him.
I also think that like you get like limited access as well too. So it's like, do I call the guy that I met 3 weeks ago and have been hooking up with for the last week and a half, or
Hmm.
do I call my sister, right, or
Yeah.
my mom who's like worried about me being halfway on the other
Or my
side of things?
kids.
Yeah, or my kids,
Yeah.
etc.
Very interesting.
But
I
like,
love
yeah, they
that.
probably can't call each other. That makes sense because they all
Yeah.
crying about not being able to see their friends that have gone home.
Yeah. Especially Michelle. I miss Devin. When is Michelle gonna go home?
Hopefully next week.
Oh my God,
I cannot
please.
believe I cannot believe that Michelle has gotten this. Although she got this far last season, I cannot believe she's gotten this far this season. Like her,
I mean,
this
yeah.
this competition was stacked. Michelle has like supreme luck, like incredible luck. I will say she held her own a few times in these elimination rounds, but
I mean, she
incredible luck.
keeps going to eliminations and she's
She's been
obviously
to
by,
3 eliminations. Like we're doing a lot here. Like,
oh,
but
feels
she
like way more.
no, she's been to 3 eliminations. She's because she didn't go to eliminations for the entire first half of the season. Like she didn't go to eliminations for the first 10 episodes.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, and she's gone back to back
Mhm.
since we've went to male and female elimination rounds.
That's why it seems so long because it's not consecutive weeks. What is the word? Oh, I can't remember. But it's
Alternating.
not every single week in a row, but it is because of the men women difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like
makes
she
sense.
had one against Tina, right? I'm pretty sure. She
Yes.
had that one against Tina while we were still in the like team competition
I miss Tina.
um of it all. And then when we got to the sing, the only ones that she's had is the like Olivia and Naya, and those were back to back.
Were they really?
Yeah,
When did Casey go home? Oh, against Tori.
against Tori, and we were still in the
Yeah.
team section. Like this is right
Yeah.
before we went. Casey and Tori were the last elimination before we went into
Yeah.
the individual portion. And since then, I think Michelle may be the only woman that has competed in that's still in the game that has competed in an elimination in this portion, right?
Yeah.
Because she went against Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had that Casey thing, and then it was a men's week. That's why it seems like a long time. Because we had
Mm-hmm.
the Casey Olivia, then it was a men's elimination with Bananas and Ryan.
Yeah.
Then the first female elimination day, it was Michelle and Naya, and then we had another men's with Bananas and Theo,
Yeah.
and then Michelle and Olivia, and now we're at Josh and Corey.
Yeah. That's exactly right. That makes sense.
She also just keeps talking about it a lot too. That's probably why you're like, oh my gosh, she's in there every day. Like, but she's really not. Like she
She
didn't.
does continue to yap. Absolutely. Just always yapping. Well, friend, we talked about our target. I don't think, are we doing our MVP?
Yeah,
And ooh, MVP Tori for braiding Josh's hair.
fascinating.
Yes. Who's
Okay,
your MVP?
I don't have one. It's you're the only one that do these.
Oh, I forget this every single week.
So.
But I get my honorable mention this week.
You can do whatever you want. It's your award to give out as you wish.
Okay. Honorable mention Nelson.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Shout out to Nelly T.
He seems cool. I like him. I hope
Um,
they can figure out a way to have if he wants to compete. I hope they can bring him.
well, I don't think it would be a challenge for Nelson to compete.
I would just worry about his prosthetic. Like, are they taking that into
There's
account?
yeah, there's people running in the Olympics on prosthetics.
Very true, very true.
Yeah,
But those are designed environments, right? Like that's part of the
there
situation.
are people. I'm pretty sure there's a hep athlete that has prosthetic.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
He just gotta get the different modes that he needs for the water, for land,
Oh my God.
for air.
Oh my God. Not having a Swiss Army knife leg. That's
Well,
crazy.
he gonna need to pack a suitcase full of legs and then switch them out as needed. He gonna have to haul the suitcase to each challenge and then be like, okay, this is it today.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, because a walking prosthetic is not the same as a running prosthetic. So you would need to know if you're going to walk or run.
Yeah,
Yes. And also probably safety, because I don't know about mud pits and all that jazz. Oh,
yeah.
God. Well, friend, anything else for this episode? Also, I don't think you said what the title of today's episode was.
Oh, swinging era.
Okay. That makes sense. So I was like swinging, but we guess we did swing on the trucks.
Yeah, swinging era.
Hmm.
Next episode is thinking thin era. I didn't
Thinking
see the
then?
yeah, I didn't see the preview for the next episode. Did it? Did I? Oh, I did. The one thing I did want to
I
mention.
did, but I don't
Oh, they
remember
were all in the
anything.
jungle and stuff. The one thing I did
Oh,
want to
yeah.
mention is the about the karma vote is like the best thing that MTV could have hoped for is Josh going home and reveal. Like Josh had to be in there because he's so emotive. He made the karma vote. Like he made me feel like, oh my god, this is like something major in the game. The way he reacted to the news, he was like,
He was so excited. He
I think
was.
the funny thing to me is that like whenever we've seen people's reaction, I can see in their faces, on their like in their eyes, on their faces, that they think TJ's about to announce like a redemption house or like a way to get back into the game, and then
Yes.
he gives them karma vote, and they have to be like, oh, that's exciting too, I guess.
That's and not that I wanted to come back and compete, but I guess I
Not
can help people when I'm not here.
right, like not that I
Yeah.
thought I still had an opportunity to win my share of $1 million, but I get to give somebody a number, a rating, like Yelp. How fun! Like
It is a Yelp rating. And then I think,
Josh has been
yeah,
the best reaction because he's like
yeah.
the only person that's been like legitimately excited that like, oh, this is
And
like gonna
Josh
be
thought
fun.
of it the way that I thought of it, which is in order for these points to like really matter,
He's a
like
Big Brother player, yeah.
there should be a big difference in how you give them out. So he gives what, bananas and Tory five?
Which I predicted he would.
Yeah. And then everybody else a one. I was like, that's exactly it. Like you got to throw some weight behind
Well,
this.
we haven't seen a ton of people's ratings as well
That's
too, and
true.
most of what we saw was at the beginning when like nobody had pissed each other off yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I wish,
Josh was like there, and he could, from where he went home, he could spot the finish line and how close it was too. So he was like,
yeah.
oh, this is like much more dire that like
Yes. That makes
um
sense. That makes sense.
I'm
Oh, I
explaining.
like the challenge.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching today. This has
Mhm.
been the Reality Roundup. If you'd like to check out our playlist on the rest of our reactions or recaps of the challenge so far this season, it'll be in the description box below. And as always, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.